Childhood trauma, the pain, the suffering, the memories, they haunt us every day. They're like carrying a heavy bag of shopping with us. It affects every area of our life. And the things that I hear on a daily basis, just to define what trauma is, many of my clients have told me this trauma is physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional, how children were beaten to the extent that the bones were broken or they were thrown down the stairs. Then there's emotional abuse. A child is constantly told they are stupid, always being criticized, always maligned, always humiliated in front of other children. And the memories I hear, they're very saddening and heartbreaking. That is emotional abuse and it's physical abuse, like I said, and how it begins to affect their life because that becomes their belief. That is a form of abuse. We will call abuse where physically a child has been assaulted or even sexually assaulted, the sexual abuse, and obviously verbal emotional abuse where there's a lot of constant shouting. Always, there's never any love, never any encouragement, never any support in anything there. Those children will grow up to be very, very broken adults. My therapy is, because I specialize in childhood trauma, is to understand that there is no delete button. With therapy, alhamdulillah, the way that I do my therapy, you will deal with your past. You will deal with your past in a way that you can revisit, but you won't live in there. You'll be able to leave. You'll feel sad, but you will deal with it and you'll be able to put it to one part of your life where you can, like I said, visit, but it won't affect all areas of your life, as usually this is what happens. Now with parenting, there's no perfect parent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make us perfect. We all have our issues and sometimes people will parent as though they have been parented. And also parents go through their own situations in life, which obviously affects their parenting, for stress, financial stress, family problems. If there are parents out there who really wanted the best for their children, whether it's in education, it's in their health, whether for them to have goals, and they try to push them and try to encourage them, and sometimes maybe they didn't do that in the best way, but is that defined as trauma? And if a parent always has the best intention for their child, then is that trauma? If a parent will sometimes get angry if a child is not doing maybe that well, and maybe that's not the right way, and they may obviously try to encourage them or tell them something, but they're working hard. Parents are working hard most of their lives so they can provide a good life for their children. The children will have good things. We take them on holidays, always make sure they're well dressed, they're well maintained, and always worrying about them. Is that trauma? The things that I see, very sad to see people carrying that pain from their childhood. But I think to define trauma as trauma is really, really important. You know, I've heard of cases where the children were being locked in the cellar or beaten till they had bruises. I've heard cases where the children were left out in the garden when it's dark. This obviously is defined as trauma because this does not really what you can say parenting is about. It's either to do with the parent having their own emotional needs not met as a child, or they may be narcissistic, or maybe there's definitely some kind of mental health issue going on. So I just wanted to make people understand that sometimes how we define trauma, if a parent is loving and kind and wants to the best for their child, and maybe sometimes they will get upset with them, or if a child is not doing so well at school, or maybe for any other reason, but that would not be defined as trauma. Obviously the other things that I've mentioned, sadly, that I see, and it's an everyday occurrence. It's not something that I can say, yeah, I hear now and again, but every day I hear about adults who are treated as a child and how then it's affected their life. They haven't been able to reach their full potential, which is something then I help them with by the will of Allah. But so I thought, let me just do this video because I think it's important, number one, to recognize trauma as trauma, and maybe parenting where we are not perfect parents. 100% we want the best for our children. We want to encourage them, give them the best life. We work hard to give them the best life. And maybe sometimes we fall down as just being parents. Sometimes a parent may be having a stressful day and then they may come home and maybe shout at the child, and I'm not saying that's right, but you know, sometimes we're human, but with them we apologize. I think that's one thing. And the second thing I really wanted to do is to say to people that there is help out there. So don't carry that heavy load with you, because it's going to get heavier and heavier, and it's going to affect your parenting, your future, because emotional baggage is carried down from generation to generation to generation.